All right, welcome back. I'm Ben.
And I'm Carrie, Nikolai.
We're agents here with Coldwell Banker, Siewert Realtors in Wisconsin Rapids.
So today we have a different setup, Ben.
Different setup, with us being in the social distancing portion of life. Wanted to include more of the people. So we're going to be doing it newscaster style.
All right, excellent.
Fantastic. So we'll have to get used to it.
Yeah, we will.
A little bit of adjustment.
Oh, that's okay. We can do this.
But we are still working.
Yes, we are. We are still working. We still have showings that we're going on today. Next week, we have a listing appointment that we're going on. So we're still out. We're still doing things.
Yep. With our backgrounds in hospitality and your background with early childcare and food service, we understand about cleaning and sanitizing and keeping good, healthy spaces.
Yes.
So that shouldn't be too bad. And we aren't going to be taking groups of people along with the showings. It's going to be very individual.
And also with the showings, too, if you're looking at wanting to go see a home and you are on that fence about whether or not you really should go and take a look at a home, give us a call and contact us, because we can just do a video chat. We've got Messenger out there. We've got a couple other different options as far as you being able to see the house to see whether or not this is a home for you. So we do have some options out there that we're very happy to go and do for you. So we can go do the showing. We can video chat you in. We had to do this with one of our buyers already.
Well, and we had been doing that with buyers who are out of the area anyway. So that's pretty convenient. Technology is great. We can help you along.
Yeah. So, I mean, we already did it once with one buyer. They were working out of town. The house came up for sale, and it was something that they really wanted, and they just wanted to take a look at it. So we did the showing. We brought them in, did a video chat with them, and we're very able and very capable about doing that.
And then even farther into the process, doing document signing, we can do a lot of that electronically and over the phone, or explaining what's going on over the phone all the way up until closing. I think there's only one or two documents that have to be signed in front of a notary.
Yeah, so there are some documents that do need to be signed in person in ink that we have to do in person. So we still have to have that face-to-face contact with it. If it's one of those things where you just feel that you just want to go to the showing, go to the closing table and sign everything without us there, we would be very happy to mail you your closing gift as well.
Meet you in the parking lot?
Yeah, we can meet you in the parking lot, or we can even drop everything off at the house that you're going to be purchasing. We have to somehow exchange keys as well. So, I mean, even if we just, leave everything at the front stoop for you, we'll work out those details as far as how to go about that.
This is not that bad as far as how it's going to impact us doing the physical day-to-day business. The interesting part is how it's going to affect the housing market as a whole. I know a lot of people are remembering 2008 and just how crazy that was. This is not that. This is a definite traumatic instance that happened at a point of time. Back in 2008, it was a culmination of things that really caused a year-and-a-half long crash, and then the market seemed to swoop in across the state, or excuse me, across the country. We're always good here in central Wisconsin of living within our means, so that's going to help us in the long term.
Yeah.
I see a lot of assistance coming in at the state and federal levels to keep businesses open and keep the cash flowing, keep people working. And that's the biggest thing we can do is keep working. And then when you get your paycheck, spend your money wisely. Otherwise, the housing market hopefully will rebound very quickly, even before the end of the year.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm watching the cat in the corner. She's jumping on some things that she's not allowed to jump on. So she's giving me the evil eye at this point. I don't think she's happy with us being quarantined with her.
She'll get used to it. She's resilient.
She is.
So that's about that. We're still here. All of the real estate agents in our office are available via our usual, cell phone, and give us a message, and we'll be happy to help you out.
And as you're working with your agents, if you are more of a texter, make sure that you are communicating what type of communication you really respond well to. So if you're used to sending out emails, be checking those emails for showings, for when showings get canceled at the last minute due to sellers choosing not to show their homes if we have something set up. So that way you have the most up to date. So that way we're not communicating you through text message and you're checking emails. So if we're trying to get you information, we want to make sure that we're using the right platform that you are used to checking on a daily basis or an hourly basis.
And if you're at home looking for new houses and whatnot, you're checking the market. Zillow is out there. It's an option, of course. It's not going to tell you exactly what houses are still active. They might have offers on them. We like to use myrapids.com or coldwellbankersiewert.com or coldwellbanker.com. Realtor.com is another option. But I know myrapids.com, we have good control over that, and we're continually up to date with the
What's
information
available.
from the MLS.
Yep.
And if a house gets into contract, we've got that posted straight away on it.
Correct. Yeah.
So we're going to keep moving forward. Now, we're going to cut over to an interview that we had with Mayor Zach a little while ago. This was at the beginning of the month, so this is going to be the last part. We're going to be talking about the airport.
Ooh, the airport.
The airport, I know. We're still going to get people traveling in. Hopefully the pandemic blows over before the golf season comes in, and other business people still want to travel here. I think they will.
They will.
And even in years to come, this is going to be something that's connecting us here in Wisconsin Rapids with the rest of the country. So,
Yep. So look forward to hearing from Mayor Zach.
all right, we'll cut to that now.
All right. So our final topic is going to be the airport.
Sure.
Now, we did a lot of renovation. I believe we had a $4 million grant. Not sure if it was a grant, but we spent $4 million on updating our airport. And I think it has gone a little bit more. We've added a new hangar,
Yep.
from my understanding.
Yeah.
So where is our airport sitting, and now what can we do with our airport?
Well, it really fits the airport in general. Thinking more broadly, we have so many assets in our community, right? And they're only assets if we figure out ways to continue to capitalize and leverage them as assets. Otherwise, they become liabilities, right? The opposite of an asset is a liability. And so our airport was one of those enterprises or pieces of infrastructure or an asset that had been kind of sleepy in more recent years. Now, early in its days, it was very active and served a huge economic development purpose. And over the years, it continued to do so for generally the paper industry and other manufacturers that would use it. Now, of course, there's flight instruction and charter aircraft activities out of there. But when Sand Valley came to the community, we kind of learned early on that many of their customers, or much of their golf play, came via aircraft, private aircraft. And we all kind of looked at each other at the airport commission, of which I'm chairman, and we said, we've got to figure out what this means for us.
Right.
Because like any smart business, and having my limited business experience as a small business owner over the years, before I became mayor, we knew that business activity could go anywhere, right? There were options. People could go to Stevens Point. They could still use our airfield, but there wasn't a lot of capacity there. They could use Adams County, maybe even, Mosinee. There are other options. And we felt that it was a unique opportunity for us to mobilize and tell a story that Wisconsin's and Rapids' economy and the community's economy is transitioning, right? One that's from dependent on one single industry, the paper industry in a single company or just a few companies, to one that's a little more diverse, right? That serves economic development and tourism in different ways, hospitality, other manufacturing and food processing. So we put together a story, and that we means the business community, the airport commission, the airport manager who we ended up hiring early on in the process, recognizing that we needed a professional on site that was not also running their business and being pulled in too many directions.
Right.
And so we put together a story, and that story was a 20-some page document that we prepared for the state legislature and said, we have an opportunity to transition and improve the local economy in the Wisconsin Rapids area. We've been hit hard over the years by downsizings and plant layoffs and plant closures, and we need to do something about that. And so the airport was one success story, right? So in the budget process, as you said, there was $4 million that was earmarked for improvements at Alexander Field.
So improvements as far as the runways or the buildings, new fencing, or is it just kind of like a broad, here's $4 million?
Great question.
Good.
Yeah.
Go spend.
Yeah, we put together a priority list.
Okay.
We put as much in there as we could imagine at the time, right? Because we didn't know to the extent of what was really coming at us, other than we did spend some time. We went out to Bandon, Oregon, which is the similar twin sister maybe of the Sand Valley project, the same developers. And there's a small airport there that also serves that golf course. And while that's a little bit different because in Washington, Oregon, in Bandon Dunes, Oregon, they're a little more remote than what we are. I mean,
Okay.
we have interstate highways between us. There's not a lot of terrain. We're pretty flat. We actually drove from Portland down to Bandon Dunes, and it was a 4-hour drive winding through the mountains. And so you could just tell how difficult it was to get to that golf course. So ours is quite a bit easier, but nonetheless important for the folks, the users that are players out at the course, who have the resources to be able to fly in on their own. So in our list of priorities, we knew that our runways couldn't get any longer, but they were in a situation with their age that we needed to do some improvements. So one of the things was, just like we would do to a street, take the top surface off and put a new surface over the tops to give us more life on that particular runway.
Now, when you took off the old one, were you able to upgrade that so that way we can get bigger planes landing here in Rapids, or does
a good
that still
question.
have like a distance thing? Because we all
It
know
is.
that a plane needs to have so many feet in order to land
That's
and
right.
take off.
Take off, exactly.
But also the concrete itself is important too, to make sure that when these planes land, it can actually take the abuse that
Right.
a plane is going to be giving it. So
That's a great question, because these planes aren't light, right?
No, these are
because
not
the
light
passengers
planes.
are heavy, but because these planes are very heavy.
Right.
So that runway was built at a time in a standard that concrete is so thick that we knew we didn't want to fully replace it, because the FAA, the Federal Aeronautics Administration or Aviation Administration, was not going to allow us to rebuild it
okay.
with its current width. It would actually get narrower.
Really?
So we said consciously, let's just do a maintenance project versus a reconstruction.
Okay.
The concrete is of certain thickness that it's able to sustain the aircraft that we take out there, but it is really a function of length of the runway, as well as there's some things called minimums, and that's how when a plane starts descending and landing, how quickly it can get from point A to point B in a elevation basis. And so that's why preceding this project, we did a lot of tree trimming and tree cutting, and it wasn't popular, but we were faced with you're either going to close your airport, or we're going to take away certain classifications of types of aircraft you could have, or you're going to trim your trees. And so it was the conscious decision, of course, to do that.
Trim the trees is the easiest
Yeah,
one, just
right.
to maintain that. And I
Yep.
think that is very helpful, so that way we can get some of those people who are traveling. I mean, you look at what St. Valley is bringing in, but also because of the classification that we have, we can also attract a few other people who are going to be coming in.
That's right.
So
having
that's-
clean approaches, and that's a project actually that we're undertaking going forward, is something that we need to, over the next 5 years, ensure that those approaches don't get impeded again by trees. I love the tree next to, like the next person, and we want to make sure we're planning for the eventual trimming of trees as they grow older and grow taller. Some of the other improvements out at the airfield, so the runway, we talked about the resurfacing of the runway. We also added capacity for parking, so basically a larger parking lot for aircraft. You can't park a car you can't park an airplane like you park a car, where you can put them nose to nose.
Right.
You can do it if people are staying for a long period of time. They kind of do it at EAA and some other big fly-ins. But when you've got large aircraft that are coming and going at different times, there's a certain configuration in which you can park those things. And our apron, the parking lot at the airport, was undersized for the size of aircraft that we get on a peak day. Now, we knew that we also had to plan for some expansion there as well. We weren't getting another $4 million from the state to do some of this work anytime soon. So we needed to make sure that we were efficient in how we spent that money. So part of it was growing the apron to a point where we could have, let's say, Sand Valley, or if there was other events happening in addition to some of the Sand Valley activity, that we could accommodate as many aircraft as possible. So how many aircraft can we handle? Well, it's really dependent on how many of each size, because their wingspans are
different.
shorter and different. Yeah. The other improvement that you mentioned the hangar, and that's a really important project from the standpoint of a lot of these large aircraft who have to leave because their insurance does not want their planes to be out in the elements. Hailstorms, windstorms, right? We saw a windstorm last summer, and the aircraft that were there really spun around, and fortunately there weren't any major damages or any of that kind of thing.
That's good.
But hangars are the precaution, right? Just
Right.
like a car garage for your vehicle. And so that's the other improvement that's happening out there right now. But when you mentioned $4 million, all told, there were a number of other projects. We upgraded all the lighting around the facility. So our utility bills are just nothing compared to what they used to be. All LED lighting,
Okay.
far more efficient, more reliable. There were a lot of times where our lighting went out over the course of winter, just faulty wiring over time, just like electricity in your
Yeah.
house or electrical in your house. And then we also made some improvements to improve what they call circulation. So like a street, if you've got a couple turn lanes in that, if traffic is not moving right, you do things to improve traffic, right? You may put in some lights that give you a left turn arrow in that. Well, at the airport, it's about how planes get from that apron, that parking lot, to a taxiway to the runway. And so we added a taxiway along the entire length. So that way, on the occasion that we've got flights coming in at the same time as planes are taking off, that they're not sitting on an active runway with a plane coming over
in.
the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
So coordinating our takeoff, our landings and taking off, is there someone who's staffed at the airport 24/7, or is this a pilots know what they're supposed to be doing, so they do their checklist of what they should be doing? Do we have that? Or
It's a great question.
Are we able to
Yeah.
staff 24/7?
Air traffic control, right?
Yeah.
How are we doing that? So all the airspace is regulated by the federal government.
Right.
And so they're communicating between Minneapolis or Green Bay or Mosinee or wherever the airspace that they're coming in through. So there's not somebody physically based at the airport for the takeoff and landing for that purpose. But you can, if you're sitting at the airport, we've got the loudspeaker there. You can hear the operations.
Okay.
They're announcing that because there's grounds crew. We need to get our staff ready. So when they pull up, we're ready to fuel them, or we're ready to take the lavatory. We've got a lav cart, so we take all the bio stuff from the airplanes, and then baggage handling and all that type of thing. So there isn't anybody based that's kind of organizing that, but that's done by the federal government in the nearby communities.
Are we looking at getting big enough where we actually need to have a tower and be staffed, or are we just kind of happy at we're happy at where we're at?
We won't be making that decision. That'd be a federal government decision, and we're probably never going to get there. I think we don't have the scheduled commercial operations, right, like you'd see with the mainline airlines. But that's also a question I get. Is,
but we're never
that?
going to be like the next Mosinee. We're just going to still stay our little hometown airport.
Yeah,
that just handles lots of big cool things.
Yeah, there are some growth opportunities. But again, no, because the commercially serviced airports were so close to the nearby airport that for an airline to add another offshoot or an air traffic control tower, very, very slim to probably not likely in maybe my lifetime. But the other thing is I do get asked a lot, well, what about scheduled service? Well, we see a scheduled service to Chicago or Denver or Minneapolis or Detroit. And out in Bandon, they were able to recruit United to do a very limited schedule. Like, a plane comes on Tuesday and leaves, and then a plane comes on Thursday and leaves. So
if I need to catch a plane to go down to Chicago to catch my flight to Florida, can I fly out of Rapids versus driving up to Mosinee and have to have my car sit for a whole entire week while I'm down vacationing, when it can just be at home? Right.
And more or less for the inbound traffic. So those that are golfers and visitors, instead of using commercial or private activity, they could use commercial. So I don't think that's not on the near-term horizon, but as Sand Valley adds a third course and beyond, well, there's a lot more golf play that's going to happen, and where are those folks going to come here from? Is it by car, or is it by airplane? And they had predicted that 30% of the golf rounds that are sold would come from air traffic, and it's at least that.
Are we seeing a lot more use of the taxi system to get from Rapids to Rome? Are we seeing some of that, or is it?
Sure.
I'm not sure how that all works, because you fly into Rapids, but you're playing in Sand Valley, which is 12 miles away. How are those golfers getting from point A to point B and then back again? And what are our pilots doing? Are they just kind of hanging out in the airport? Do we have a cool lounge for them, or are they just kind of hanging out at the local restaurants and trying to figure out how to? I got to hang out for the next 10 hours while my people are off playing.
It depends. Some of them overnight when they're staying at the Mead or another hotel. Some of them are just coming in at 8 and they're leaving at 6 at night or 8 at night. But in that period of time, we've got to keep them occupied. So they're not sitting in the pilot's lounge all day. Now, we did upgrade the lounge, add some better, comfortable recliners and some more provisions. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know if I wouldn't spend 8 hours there personally, but I'll tell you, bike share has been a question. These guys, because they sit in their cockpit, they want to be out active too. So they've actually thought about biking along
and
the
a lot
river.
of the new improvements that we made to the city feeds right on into that.
It's an interesting dynamic. But definitely restaurants, I would say also that folks are, they're just looking for other things to do. So they're picking up the visitor's guide. They might be maybe making a run out to the cheese factory. But as it relates to their transportation, we actually provide our pilots with a free courtesy car.
Okay.
So they're able to take the courtesy car and run around to the local area, which is always a very interesting thing because instead of renting a car in pilot in the aviation world, it's very common to have crew cars or pilot cars available for people to use. It's just kind of here are the keys, sign it out and go. It's an incredibly trusting type of thing. And so that tradition continues at Alexander Field here in Rapids.
And that is really neat to even find out because, you barely put a little thought to it. I mean, you hear a lot of times, the pilots come in, but they come in and then they leave on those bigger airports because they're just picking up the next people and shuttling to the next place.
Right.
So knowing that there's cars available for them, so the way they're not just stuck at a small airport
all
of
day.
just waiting for people to get over with,
Yep.
their golf done and then go back home.
That's right. But most of there's actually been a couple of transportation companies that have popped up to take golfers to the resort. Sand Valley does not itself run any transportation, so they work with partners, and that's been a nice new business opportunity for people in our community as well. I see, they're always investing in new vans and larger equipment to take people down to play some golf and, spend some leisure time.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, very good.
Thank you so much for coming, and
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed
Hard to believe our time is up already.
I know. It goes by so quickly.
It does. Well, thanks again for the opportunity. It's really an
yeah.
exciting time for our community for these reasons and many others, right? We could spend hours talking about them. But
We really
appreciate
could,
this.
and we wanted to keep it small and kind of keep it a little bit simple. So hopefully we can come back later on in the year. We'll have you back. I mean, you're always welcome to come
Sounds
back.
good, Carrie. Thank
All
you.
right.
Appreciate
well, thank
it.
you so much, and you guys all have a great Central Wisconsin day. Bye-bye. All right. Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that discussion with Mayor Zach. We are very happy that we were able to have that interview earlier on, and we're looking forward to having more guest speakers. But right now, that's not. It's going to be more creative if we can do that right now.
We might have phone-in callers and Skype chat.
Yes.
I really don't like that format. It's not a good quality format as far as visual and the audio.
Right.
I'm a nerd.
I know you are.
But it was cool about the airport and learning how transportation needs are being met.
Yes.
What do you think? A pilot, they bring someone in, and what do? They don't sit in the airport lounge for 2 days.
No.
They got to do something else.
Right. So I mean, we've got a lot of people who are traveling in that we're still hosting, and we're still getting out there and seeing the area too. So that's always good to see how the airport is helping our businesses, our local businesses out.
Yeah.
So. Well, good.
And
we would normally at this point kind of cut to our
Local
community events,
events.
but unfortunately,
there's
we don't
no-
have any.
No local community events right now. Stay tuned.
I know they will be coming. So once all the bans are lifted, I'm sure we'll be getting back to the full swing of things. And if you're going out shopping, just check first to see if the business is open, because I know that everyone's now starting to slim back some hours.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of check the businesses before you go out and do some shopping.
A lot of social media as well. Check online. Get creative. If you have favorite businesses that you like to attend, go ahead, post those on your social media accounts, and let's keep this thing rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I know church services, a lot have already invested in technology to, have that online so you can still participate. And hopefully those will be continuing.
Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, we did have our sales meeting this morning, but we did not go out on tour.
Right.
We are going to be doing our tours a little bit differently, but we didn't go out on tour today, but we did kind of talk a little bit about the market. So the market is still doing good.
Oh yeah, people are still listing their houses.
They're still listing. They're still buying. We're still in the full swing.
So we'll bring more to the next couple podcasts. I think I'll be inserting some photographs and whatnot when things come online. New listings come on the market.
All right, so there's work.
Look at that. So sorry about that, but yeah, we'll be doing more of a photo video kind of tour here with these videos, getting you guys some information about the houses that are being listed in our office and show you some pictures, make that kind of fun.
Yep. So
that's about it. Catch us on all the social media. Now that we've got more time to be on there, I will be on there. And of course, making some more videos as we go. So look forward to that too.
And we just might do some random videos throughout the day of what do we do, during quarantine
Well, there's a lot of
or
housing.
preparation. I mean, this is a perfect time. I mean, you talk about perfect time of you need something to do. If you're looking at listing within the next 3 or 4 months, you are now kind of stuck at home. Start going through and start whittling things out. Take a room a week or room a day and really deep clean, go through, find out what you have. That way you are ready to list. You've already kind of weeded everything out. You already kind of figured out, okay, this is what we're going to donate. Maybe start a donate pile if the donation place is closed at the time. But getting that house ready to go, to have us come in and to sit down and talk with you and go, okay, you know what? We already did our cleaning. We already went through and did all that because you have the time now. And if you're home with kids are great for this because you never know what kind of treasure you're going to find while you're cleaning out that closet.
Well, it's great that it coincides with spring cleaning and we can start opening up the windows a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
After the snow comes this weekend, of course.
Don't say that.
Yeah,
I don't want snow.
it's okay.
I know. So, okay. Well, I hope you guys all have a great Central Wisconsin day, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.